Hey everyone, welcome back to JarDev. So the annual Speedsouls Charity Marathon has recently wrapped up. It was a month ago now. And they managed to raise over $7,000 for Save the Children, which is fantastic.
$7,000.
Yeah, boy.
On here with $10 saying round numbers, duckface. Hell yeah, dude.
The Speedsouls Charity Marathon is, like I said, an annual event. They usually run for 3 days at the beginning of November every year. And it's very similar to something like Games Done Quick, GDQ. It'll just be pretty much mostly Dark Souls games being speedran 24/7 for those 3 days. It's a great event, great fun to watch. I didn't get to catch any of it live this year, unfortunately. I always try to watch as much as I can every year. But this time I just went through all the VODs pretty much, watched most of the runs, took a long time to catch up. And I made a couple of notes of my favorite runs, and in this video I'm going to be going through the top 7 best. I highly recommend following Speedsouls on Twitch, subscribing to their YouTube channel. As of the time of recording this video, they haven't uploaded the runs to the YouTube channel yet, but every year they do end up putting every single run onto the channel. So once those get released, I will put links to all the videos I mention down below. So here we go, these are the 7 best runs from this year's Speedsouls Charity Marathon. Alright, at number 7 we have Master876 versus Mildred in a Dark Souls all bosses randomizer race at 2 times game speed.
I think the major beauty of this is not just a randomizer. This is 3 combined randomizers, and they all beautifully work together.
So this is basically exactly as chaotic as it sounds. Not only were all the items randomized, but fog gates were also randomized, which means that you could go to a boss store and get teleported somewhere completely random. If you were unlucky, you would end up at Gwyn very early on. So basically this turned the game into a full maze, so the runners were actually having to take notes on their desk next to them to kind of keep track of where they'd have to go.
This is with the foggy run though. This is a thing that happens. You cannot make progress, especially if you find like things like key items or just keep going a path, and then you are at the end, and it's like, oh boy, which foggy did I forget? And then you have to spend 10 minutes trying to like track what you did and what you did. Oh, hey, no. Okay, jeez. And
if that wasn't already enough, also the movesets of every item in the game were randomized. So this was not only all weapons, but also consumable items. For example, the Estus flask animation was replaced with the animation for eating a blossom, which was good. It meant their healing could happen much faster. But it also meant that they could find a very good weapon early on, but it could just have a terrible moveset, and they'd have to replace it with something else.
Here it is! It was destined to happen. Oh no.
That was my big mouth. Why?
Oh no.
So...
Why?
This
run is cursed. This run is so cursed.
At number 6 we have Danflesh111 in a Dark Souls Remastered PvP any % run. This was a bit of a meme run. It came right before Danflesh doing another Dark Souls run right after. It was also the only run of Dark Souls Remastered on the whole marathon. Everything else was the Prepare to Die edition. But the idea of this run is to invade and kill another player as fast as possible. And this was a very entertaining run. Danflesh managed to invade and kill someone very quickly.
Maybe it's written from her last run.
I can spam her one as well. Easy clap.
Oh.
So the end of the run is gonna be as soon as I will go back in my world and time.
That was brilliant.
And then did a couple more invasions just for fun, which didn't go quite as well as the first one.
I would just like to say concern doge.
Yes.
No.
Very much so. No, he healed. Oh, that's... And the
I'm alive.
backstab.
No. Oh, there is another mage. He has a... Not Ruthin.
Not written.
Actually,
That's amazing.
This is the second year that I'm trying to snipe you and you find written.
At number 5, we have Wolfie87's run of Dark Souls 2 Any% Old Souls. This was a great run for quite a few reasons. The route of Dark Souls 2 Any% Old Souls has actually changed quite a bit since I've last watched that category. I had no idea, so there was lots of cool stuff that I hadn't seen before in this. But also, I think pretty much everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for poor Wolfie in this run.
Okay, so this is a train wreck right there. Okay, so this is good. We're just gonna beat him up.
You did say this was going to be a clown fiesta, so...
Yeah, okay. We'll leave him. We'll come back. Just a second.
Gonna reset.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, dude.
You expect her to be
Why
on the...
did I just do that?
No, that is a good question.
That's an answer. Okay, well, we hadn't clowned it a little bit, so
Just
there we
triple
go.
puke.
Oh my god, are you serious? Oh my god.
Well, the first one he killed is the shield.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh no.
Okay, that's fine. What?
Keep a death counter. I'll donate $5 for every run of death from this point onwards. So, that's your time, Wolfie.
There we go. $5, please.
You do know that those don't just poison, they also do a little bit of damage. Right?
I did not realize they did damage. I thought they just poisoned, but that's my bad.
Predictably, a donation from Staycastic GD. He donates $20 and says, let me just get a couple deaths ahead.
Dang!
But he was so positive and so cheerful about everything, it's just a very enjoyable run to watch, to be honest. Wolfie really made the best of a lot of bad situations, and he managed to do this run on top of being a host for about a quarter of the time as well. At number 4 we have Duckshul doing a run of Dark Souls in the New Game Plus All Bosses category. So the way this run works is that it starts immediately after defeating Gwyn in New Game, so you start all the way back at the beginning of the Asylum, but obviously you get to keep all your stats and weapon and spells and stuff from the previous game. The very neat thing about this run is that Duckshul had done some very clever glitching in the New Game part of the run.
Okay, so yeah, normally they try and take the ring off you, but there's a glitch where if you use equip slot manipulation and equip the ring in your hair slot, then, and you also have it equipped. So you can see I've got it equipped here, but I had it in my hair slot, and the game tries to remove it from you. But once it's removed it once, it doesn't need to remove it again. So, like, you still keep it equipped. But if I remove it, it's gone. So that's why I need to do them first.
Which meant that his character was ridiculously overpowered in New Game Plus. A real standout moment is the very start of the run where the character stands up and about half his body is invisible because somehow his character is wearing 3 hats, which really makes his magic attack insanely overpowered.
And that's for kings.
As you can imagine, killing the bosses was super easy for Duckshul, but I think the best part of the run came from all the really cool glitches and skips that Duckshul was doing.
Okay, we got it. And so I was talking about ladders, and I was specifically referring to this one, which is going to take us quite a long way. It's taken us all the way to the painted world.
At number 3 we have the traditional relay race of all 5 Soulsborne games. The 2 teams were Concern Doge versus Concern Froge. Team Concern Doge was made up of Ahadi, Mega Alberto 96, Menos DG, Fiery Wyvern, and Fudge Cow. And Concern Froge was made up of Curious Peanut, Nax HPL, Regal Slayer, Caprices, and EAM 64. Like I said, this was a relay race, so all 5 Soulsborne games were played back to back. Ahadi and Curious Peanut started on Bloodborne at the same time. As soon as one of them finished, then either Mega Alberto or Nax would step up and do Demon Souls. And this would continue until it got down to Dark Souls 3 between Fudge Cow and EAM 64. During this run, there was an incentive for just one of the teams to have to fight Soul Cinder with its AI on. Basically, on an earlier patch, there's a glitch where you can get into the Soul Cinder boss arena and his AI just won't trigger, he'll just be a statue there and you can kill him. For the incentive, viewers would donate and basically say they wanted either Concern Doge to have to fight Soul Cinder with AI on or Concern Froge. And it basically got so close that Both runners got to Soulless Cinder at basically the same time. Neither knew who was supposed to be doing it with AI on. So both FudgeCow and EAM64 decided that they would both fight the boss legit, and they did a nice countdown outside the boss fight and started it at the same time.
Okay, start running towards him in 3, 2, 1.
Right.
So this approximately 4.5 hour relay race came down to fighting the same boss at the same time. It was very intense. At number 2 we have Ivan versus Enduritize versus Curious Peanut versus KC Smurf in a Blood Level 4 all bosses run of Bloodborne. Blood Level 4 means that their character starts the game at level 4 and they end the game at the level 4. They are not allowed to level up any stats at all throughout the game. And this is hard enough for the regular game, but some of those DLC bosses are insane, so kudos to all 4 runners for managing to do this category. This run was especially interesting to watch because Ivan just showed why he really is one of the absolute best Bloodborne runners. He pulled ahead very early, he suffered a couple of setbacks but still won the race very handily. They also made an agreement to not do the cheese strategy for Orphan of Cause.
Yeah, so this is obviously why they do the cheese most of the time in BL4. Because it's already been finished the fight 3 times anyway. Whereas in all bosses, you don't even have to deal with phase 3 unless he does instant lightning.
Right.
And by phase 3, I mean phase 2.
Which 2 of them did manage to do. Enduritize ended up having to cheese it because it was just getting too late at that point. And poor KC never actually got to Orphan of Cause. But it really is interesting to watch just to see how far ahead Ivan pulls. And lastly, at number 1, we have Nems38 versus Abyss in an all bosses run of Dark Souls 3. This run has it all basically. Nems dropping the C word twice in a charity stream benefiting Save the Children.
Alright, so time for Yulm. This fight is pretty funny, just stamps or not, it depends really. If he stamps, then you use a bunch of time. If he doesn't stamp, then you're having a fun time. I used to have him called Mr. Stomp in my splits, and then I changed it because I thought it looked like I was a child. But instead I have, splits like cunt for Half-Life, which is way more way more adult.
Lots of great bants between the 2 runners.
As VA keeps telling me, Ash is a girl's name.
Ash isn't a girl's name.
Don't you think that Ashley is a girl's name though? Ash is fine.
No, Ashley is unisex in the
UK. Sounds pretty girly to me, mate.
Well, what's your name, dude?
It's Josh.
Yeah.
It's pretty manly if you ask me.
What a Chad name that is as well, Josh.
Yeah, I'm playing with my shirt off at the moment, can confirm.
Are you?
Because I've got such rippling muscles.
Oh god, they're so hot. I'm trying to play, dude.
Early on in the run, Nems promised that if he died at any point during this almost 2-hour run, he would donate $100 to Save the Children.
Alright, I'm gonna go for a deathless run. If I die, I'll donate $100 to Save the Children.
Deathless? You sure you're not gonna die to Gale, mate?
Hopefully not.
And he followed through on it. Good lad.
Yeah, Medea's a woman because do you see a massive 10-inch dragon cock? I don't.
Banned again.
Probably. That's what happens, dude. I was looking at her cock.
Oh, you just keep digging yourself a hole.
I've got $100 from Nems38 himself, obviously, because he died, so he donated, and saying Midir is a girl. Well, it's okay to be wrong, but thank you for the awesome run, dude.
There was another incentive in this run where both runners would have to fight Slave Knight Gale, who's one of the hardest bosses in Dark Souls, with just their fists, not even a fist weapon, just bare fists, which Nems managed to do at first try.
Alright, and that's the run done.
Poor Abyss struggled a lot with a really, really tough skip, probably the hardest skip in Dark Souls. So they were really running out of time by the time Abyss got to Gale, so he just killed Gale normally. But another absolutely fantastic run. Nems really demonstrated why at one point he held the world record in all 3 categories for Dark Souls 3. And there you go, that was my list. I'm in no way associated with Speedsouls, I just absolutely love Dark Souls, I love Dark Souls speedruns, and I really love the Speedsouls Charity Marathon event they do every year. Like I said, I usually try to watch it live, didn't get to this year, but I made my way through the VODs, took a long time, but I watched most of it. So yeah, definitely follow Speedsouls on Twitch, you can find them on Twitter as well, at Soulsruns. And also check them out on YouTube, I'll have a bunch of links in the description down below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!